Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station, coming to you from the Nelson and Tasman region. In today's news, cannabis recovery operation sees many charged, police confirm young motorcyclist has died, local views on immigration, and feedback sought on open space strategy. 48 people across the Tasman Police District will be facing charges as a result of the annual cannabis recovery operation Lucy. This year, 5,266 plants were recovered, along with a further 17 kilograms of dried plant material. Police also seized firearms and a significant amount of ammunition, along with $10,000 in cash during the operation. Operation Commander Sergeant Rob Crawford said police found 172 cannabis plantations as a result of information gathered. He said there was a significant increase in plants located in Marlborough in the Havelock and Wairau Valley areas this season. Sergeant Crawford said the plants recovered were also in much better condition than those found in previous seasons, which was the result of more favourable growing conditions through the summer. He said the recovery phase of the operation was greatly assisted by the Air Force, providing its Iroquois helicopter. Sergeant Crawford said it was great for us to work alongside the Air Force, who used the operation as training. He says the exercise provides a useful purpose for both organisations. Sergeant Crawford says police were grateful for the information received from the public during the year that contributed to the operation. He says rural people suffer a lot of loss and damage when there are cannabis growers in the area. He says fences are damaged, diesel gates get stolen and freezers get emptied. He says we know that if we can make life difficult for growers, crime in those areas will decrease. Tasman Police have confirmed 21-year-old Thomas Davidson of Richmond, who was critically injured in a motorcycle accident last month, died in Wellington Hospital on the 21st of May. The crash occurred on State Highway 6 at Collins Valley on April 27th. A funeral service was held for Mr Davidson on Monday. Police are continuing with their investigation into the cause of the crash. The results of recent polls show the majority of respondents want limits on immigration. A recent 3 News Read research poll shows almost 2/3 of voters think there should be restrictions on immigration. Meanwhile, a 1 News survey shows 57% backed immigration limits to control house prices. Stuff also ran a survey in which 60% of people said yes, we need tougher limits to help control house prices. The number of migrants settling in New Zealand in the past year topped 70,000, the most seen in a decade in any 1 year. Labour leader David Cunliffe, who blames immigrants for rising house prices, told 3 News it would take 80% of our housing supply just to house this year's migrants, and Treasury indicated the number will likely reach 40,000. Meanwhile, New Zealand First Leader Winston Peters also came out against immigration, saying no government has the right to sell its people out like this. He says the National Party is trading away our future and our birthright, along with our land and our assets. However, Prime Minister John Key told 3 News, New Zealand is a country that has been built on migration and we've done really well out of it, and he thinks we should be very cautious about taking knee-jerk steps. Mainland headed out to ask the Nelson Tasman public for their thoughts on immigration.
I have mixed feelings about that. I feel for refugees, people who are in countries where things are really tough. I think we should be welcoming to them. In the same way, I don't want New Zealand to become super crowded like some of the overseas places I've been to. So yeah, a bit mixed.
Oh look, I think it's great. There's nothing wrong with cultural diversity. Makes the community more interesting, and I'm pretty much all for it.
Yeah, I agree. Immigration should be restricted. Yeah, we've got problems within the country. Surely we should be dealing with those before we're adding to our housing congestion and our job situation. Before we're actually taking people from other countries.
immigration. There's too many people coming into our country and buying our properties and stealing our jobs, and yeah, it's wrong.
Oh, that's a tough one, really. It is. There are people who need to come to safe countries. But on the whole, yes, I think it could be looked at and just, I don't know, sort of be a bit careful about how many people we are bringing in. I think the ones who need asylum from horrible countries should get a good chance at coming in.
That depends on what the workers here for them to do. You know, like with a lot of seasonal work here, New Zealanders are too lazy to do themselves, and New Zealanders don't want to do it. So these are the people who are going to fill in these positions for these people. Yeah. That's my opinion on that one.
Both Arthur's Pass and Haas Pass were reopened on Monday morning. Haas Pass reopened after State Highway 6 from Haas Township to Makaroa were cleared of snow, and the stability of the slip at Diana Falls was checked after 3 days of rain and snow in the area. The New Zealand Transport Agency's Senior Network Manager Mark Pinner says at Arthur's Pass, where a massive slip about 1 kilometre west of Otira Township on State Highway 73 closed the road on Friday, single-lane access was opened up through that area at midday. A local senior constable and his dog are amongst numerous police teams which triumphed at the Patrol and Detector Dog Championships. The top 12 police patrol dog teams from around the country competed for national honours at the New Zealand Police Dog Centre at Trentham last week. They were joined by 6 of the best narcotic detector dog teams from police, corrections and customs, and the top 5 explosive detector dog teams from police, aviation security service and customs. Wellington Police dog Ox and his handler Senior Constable Ben O'Connor are this year's National Police Patrol Dog Champions and winners of the Frank Riley Cup for highest marks overall. Meanwhile, Tasman's Senior Constable Pete Greenland and his patrol dog Gruff are the runners-up. Chrissy Small spoke with Area Commander Inspector Steve Greeley about Pete and Gruff's success.
Now, Steve, some good news for Tasman Police, your dog handling team.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter Greenland is one of our dog handlers. He came second in the South Island regionals. He spent the last few days over in Wellington at Trentham, going through the nationals, and he came second overall. So we've done very well. We're very lucky with our dog handlers in Tasman. They're all really experienced guys. They train their dogs really well. And we've had, of course, one of our dog handlers in the past who came first. That was a few years ago, Julian Lewis. That made the national headlines, and we're all proud of that. He's now left the dog squad, but Peter Greenland did very well. So we've got the second best dog in the country here in Tasman. So and he's Nelson. So you wouldn't want to be running from him. Put it that way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Good dog.
Yeah. Good name, Gruff.
Gruff's a great name, very appropriate for this one. Yeah, he's got a little attitude.
Oh, great.
But very well trained, very professional, extremely professional.
Yeah, great. Now, the police performance indicators.
Yep.
Good news.
That's extremely good news for us. We've had, they rate 7 different categories right across, and every district, every area is rated in relation to these. In terms of the prevention first strategy, what are we doing? And it would be crime reductions, it could be increased patrols, it could be all those sorts of things. And Tasman District, very, very proud that we rate number 1 in 4 of those categories. And we're about mid-band in the remaining 3. But no, we're very proud, and there's a lot of effort, and we've spoken about this in the media before as to what we're doing here in Nelson Bays especially. Yeah, we've got 135 staff here, 126 of those are sworn in the blue shirt. So what we do here, because we're a smaller community, we actually take on a lot more portfolio work. So, you might be a detective who's in your 9 to 5 day might consist of investigating serious crime. That's great. But at the sort of a drop of a hat, those people can deploy also to a domestic, especially if we're a bit thin on the ground and it's getting a bit busy. It's not just our response guys that might turn up. So we sort of get around those problems that way. We're a real team. Everybody backs everybody up, which is outstanding. And I've been area commander here for now 2.5 years, and to be honest, it's I haven't seen this sort of camaraderie before. Up in the big metro districts, it's very much, this is my job, this is what I do. I mean, they've got more resource that they can do that. We rely on each other big time here. It's fantastic. So now our staff are doing a great thing.
The Tasman District Council has completed the draft open space strategy and feedback is now being sought from residents. The strategy will help improve the management and provision of our parks, reserves, natural areas and other types of open space. Council is seeking feedback so they can properly manage these areas and determine action and priorities for spending and use for years to come. Councillor Judine Edgar, Chair of the Community Development Committee, says the strategy will assist the Council in reviewing levels of services, zoning or acquiring land, working with volunteer organisations to protect or enhance areas, and in our planning processes such as the review of the Reserve Management Plan, the Long-Term Plan and Tasman Resource Management Plan. The draft strategy and feedback form are available at tasman.gov.nz or by completing forms located at Council Service Centres. Feedback closes on the 27th of June 2014. The Nelson Tramping Club is 80 years old this month. Mainland's Ray Salisbury interviewed President Laurie Halkett on Tuesday morning about the upcoming anniversary celebrations.
Laurie Halkett, tell me all about the Nelson Tramping Club.
The Nelson Tramping Club's made up of around 110 members. We're all pretty much kindred spirits. We love tramping, heading into the hills because we love their forests, lakes, rivers and mountains. Many of us do it for camaraderie and many of us others do it to recharge the batteries after a busy working week. So there's a multitude of reasons why people go tramping, but most of all it's the beauty of the backcountry that New Zealand offers is the reason that we're all out there in the hills tramping. Yeah, there's a range of other social activities the club is involved with. We have club nights every second month, the first Monday of every month. And those nights generally we have a guest speaker that will come along and talk to the club members, and it's across a variety of topics. In the past we've had Craig Potton talking about his consummate skill in photography. We've got Chris Milden coming up actually next month. He'll be talking about mountain biking in the backcountry, which will be interesting because they are another set of backcountry users, and we are likely also to have Nick Smith coming along to our AGM in August. So those are the club nights. We also have pub nights where we generally just shoot the breeze and talk about upcoming trips or programs or trips that we dream of doing and try and fit them on the program somewhere. So the club was founded in May 1934, and in those days those intrepid souls had to get to the start of their tramp by either walking or push biking, cycling to the start of a tramp, or if it was a little further afield then they would hire a car. Their first tramp was up to Third House to Jenkin Hill and back down through the brook, and their first overnight tramp later on that year in 1934 was to Flora Hut. Which is rather interesting because the club in this current day has entered into a partnership arrangement with the Department of Conservation to maintain Flora Hut in its original condition. So that involves going up there for working bees. We undertook our first working bee March of last year and re-roofed the hut, and we'll be doing another working bee full weekend up at Flora Hut sometime this year, probably to line the inside of the hut. So the hut's got a strong association with huts in the backcountry. Those early days in the 1930s, there were two huts that were built by the club, the Rocks Hut in the Richmond Range and John Tate Hut in Nelson Lakes National Park.
And finally, Laurie, tell us about the upcoming 80th anniversary celebrations.
Yeah, our celebrations are going to take place at St Arnaud, at the St Arnaud Hall. And they're scheduled to take place on Saturday the 26th of July starting at 4 p.m. So any members of the public are also most welcome to come along to this event, and the details will be on the Nelson Tramping Club website, which is www.nelsontrampingclub.org.nz. The night itself will involve a potluck dinner. We'll have quizzes, lots of fun and games, and possibly if there's anybody there that can still remember, we might even have some singing and dancing. So that'll be the event, and it should be a fun night. We had our 75th anniversary again up at St Arnaud, so it's a great venue to hold a celebration like that. So everybody is welcome to come along.
And Ray Salisbury also asked members of the public, do they visit our national parks and how often?
Do you visit our national parks and how often?
Ooh, I do. Not as often as I would like, maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
And what activities do you participate in?
Tramping, walking, swimming.
Yeah, we do. We're great caravanners. So, I've been a ranger in the National Park Service as part of my career in the past. So, it's part of our lives. But yeah, we use them a lot because they are just great resources, great recreational resources.
Gosh, we just about live in a national park. Yes, we do. Not terribly often. Only probably over to Abel Tasman, mostly. But yeah, in the past we have. But yeah.
Never really. Yeah, really not that often at all.
Are you too busy?
Yeah, usually too busy.
Much as I can, but unfortunately we've got a business to run on weekends and it's a bit hard to get here. But no, I do. I love our national parks. They're absolutely our heritage, aren't they? Yeah.
Great.
Tramping mostly. We go up the lakes quite a bit.
Nelson Lakes, down the Marlborough Sounds. When we were in the North Island, we used to use the Urewera National Park a lot. Mount Taranaki. We're actually using national parks in our travels as caravanners, or we have as campers with our kids as well, for years and years. So yeah, great, absolutely magnificent resource.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.